Well, hello, 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 and good morning. Rise and
Hello.
shine. Welcome back to the Seven Figure Sunrise Summit. I am here this morning with my guest, and I am so excited to let you know what her path is all about because she has got a story of overcoming like you wouldn't believe and has created millions, given away millions, and done so many amazing things that you just got to know about. So here we are, Ms. Catherine Wylie, Chief Visionary at the CN Wylie Group. Thank you so much for being here with me this morning, Catherine. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me, Gail. This is a really wonderful opportunity, not only for myself, but for everybody, because everything's about learning and, taking other people's experiences and putting it into their action plans and making it go.
I love it. That is
Hmm.
exactly what it's all about.
It is.
Fantastic. So let's begin this morning by finding out a little bit about who you are, what you've done, and what CN Wiley Group is all about. Because I know you have a number of different brands within that
Yeah.
that have brought you to where you are today.
Yes, definitely. Um, well, I was a stay-at-home mom and wife for years and years and years. And when the marriage was coming to an end, I needed to have some marketable skills because I knew I was going to have to feed my children and house them eventually myself. So I did a bunch of counseling with my minister, did a lot of soul searching. What did I want to do? Well, I knew I wanted to have the ability to create unlimited income for myself. I didn't want anything, I didn't want like a regular job where someone else was going to tell me what I could make or whatever. I wanted to be the driver of my own destiny, right? Be the creator of my life. And so that's what I did. I sat on a beach with my kids for a few months, literally sat there like people thought I was in a trance, really looking at what I wanted to do. And the bottom line was what I came up with is to take the kids, go back to university, Simon Fraser University, get a business degree, work for 2 years in sales, and then establish my companies. And it was never about the money. Like, even though you need money, it was for me, it was about creating positive change. For me, it was about being in service. And I literally had no idea what that company was going to look like, but that was my goal. Get my degree, work for sales, because in sales, as we've discussed,
Mm-hmm.
you need to be able to listen. You need
Yeah.
to be able to hear what people want. And then you need to be able to create, implement, and maintain those either services or products with integrity, right? So, whatever you're telling them, then you need to be able to assure that that's what you're delivering. So, getting my degree was really interesting because, my parents disowned me over it. You could never figure out why, but so I had very little support, got the kids over to Simon Fraser, had lots of fun getting that degree because, I went in with a B. I went into Simon Fraser with a B average. And I took the summer semester and I thought that, I'd make the business networking goal of 252, what it was, because I was already pretty much there. And lo and behold, I came out of that first semester with a 1.67. And I
Mm.
basically was told by the head of the business faculty not to bother reapplying. And I went, bollocks to that, not doing that. And so I set up my semester so that I'd get all A's, get the grades I needed so that I could reapply. And I had it on track. This was a fall semester of what I went in there in 1989, fall semester of 89, and everything going until I got a phone call the morning of November the 10th that my father had died in his sleep. And that just was horrific, even though we hadn't been talking, all of these different things. And the head of the faculty said, well, we'll pull you out. We don't want you to lose ground. I said, no, I've got a budget. I got 4 kids. So I took 4 kids between the ages of 2.5 and 11 to university to get this degree. I had a schedule, I had a budget, and I said, no, I'm going to grieve for 2 weeks. Then I'm going to study and I'm going to write my finals. And so that's what I did. And it wasn't easy. And then I wrote the exams and I was short by a tiny little percentage.
Mm-hmm.
And classically at university, you always go back to TAs, professors, because typically in marking, there are marks that are missing. And so I went to my calculus professor And all he could do was whip through my thing, looking at me going, why did you write this? You were getting an A. And I ended up with, like a C or something. Then I went to my stats professor and he goes, oh, look at these marks over here. And I said, I want this legitimately. I don't want any favors. It's got to be real. And he said, this is legitimate. Redid it. He says, now get yourself upstairs and go talk to the head of the business faculty. And she was blown away. She couldn't believe that I did it. And she said, you're in and you're on what do they call it? What's that when you're in probation?
Yeah,
so I was
probation.
in and I was in, but I had to maintain my grades. And I said, there'll be no problem. Not only will I maintain my grade, but I will get it up there. And so, and I knew, everyone told me I couldn't do it. I couldn't get this degree. Who did I think I was, going to school with all these kids? And never mind, who do you think you are that you're going to start companies that are going to make positive change? The stay-at-home mom, right? And I'm like, okay, but I got to feed my kids, right? Never mind that I now, this is what I wanted to do. This was my path. This was my spiritual path to get going and do things. And so I graduated in 1992. And no one would hire me because I was 37 years old with really the experience of being, as I call it, the CEO of my own home, until this one company. It was a telemarketing job. And the salary was $1,250 a month plus commission. But my rent was like $1,074. And it was like, how am I going to do this? But anyway, it was the only place I could go. I had $18 left in my pocket. My degree was paid for. And I knew when I got that piece of paper, nothing could stop me. Nothing but me could stop me.
I would maintain that nothing could stop you before you got that piece of paper.
Yes, but
that's a wonderful first lesson, though. I want to pull out for you. I want to pull this wonderful first lesson out that you had a very, very powerful why of why you wanted this independence, why you wanted to be in business for yourself. And that pulled you forward to going, no, this is not going to go this way. We're going to do the footwork to make sure it goes the way I want it to go, right?
Exactly. It's the foundation to know, because during that degree, I got these kids. I never missed a deadline. I never asked for an extension, never pulled an all-nighter. And I had to get these kids. I'm a single mom. I had to get these kids to hockey, to baseball, to soccer, to dance, to practice, to games. And the parents would help, but I never missed anything. And my kids now say to me, well, how did you do that? I said, because I had to. And as women, we can do anything. When we have to reach down and you got to do it, then you're going to reach down and you're going to make it happen. It's all in the action, right? And so
absolutely.
I got this job and I was quickly made into the contract publisher there because I was the only one that I could actually sell this book that we were selling. And I don't know what they were buying, whether they were buying me or buying the book, didn't matter, right? Because just my personality. And then in 1993, they hired me in the fall of 92. In 1993, I was out on a call and I discovered the internet, the bing, bing, ding, ding bulletin board. Then what happened is I met a fellow out in Richmond because I was on the mainland who had something called a mini cat. This is 1993. This mini cat was like a 5-inch disc. You plugged it into your computer. Remember the 5-inch disc days?
Oh, yeah.
And you would type and upload some pictures and you had a website.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
and
that is archaic.
It was very archaic, but it was like bleeding edge. And like I said to my editor, I came back and I said, guess what we're going to do? We're going to put the magazines up 24/7 advertising. We are now going to, he just about fell off his chair. He couldn't believe it. And from there, we quickly put some seminars together to teach people what the internet was about. And of course, everyone thought I was crazy then too. But I had the ability to see. That's why I call me the chief visionary. I can see. I'm downloaded from the creator's universe. I'm able to see. I saw this huge picture. I was so excited because what I saw was we would no longer need the capital infrastructure costs that were putting developing countries under the 8 ball, like that massive amount of money to get products, to get services out. I could see what we were going to be able to do on a business level, on a charity level, to be able to help uplift these developing countries. And that's what was driving me forward. So literally, in a nutshell, someone walked in the door where I was working. We couldn't do it. I bootstrapped my companies for $5,000. My boss gave me a $5,000 loan for computer equipment because that's what it cost in those days.
Oh, God, I remember.
I got an assistant and I started building the companies. And I just started building them, building websites. And I built from having to have a return on investment. I wasn't part of the .com new paradigm where you never had to make money. My goal was, we're going to make money. And how are we going to make money? And what's your plan? And how are we going to do it? So in 96, I realized that we needed the e-commerce piece. We needed the payment piece. So I called down to Visa down in the United States. And I said, who's doing it? Like, I know you guys are, but is anybody doing it in Canada? They sent me over to the gentleman in Toronto at RBC, Visa merchant. At that time, Visa, all the banks were still doing their own merchant account stuff. And I met with him. I really just wanted to see why they weren't doing this themselves. I'm going, this is going to be nothing but money. I figured that out later, why they wanted everyone else to throw the money up against the wall first, right? Then they just take it. Then it's like, hey, now we're in the command chair, and that's perfectly fine. So I bought my first payment gateway, online payment gateway, end of 96. 97, we rolled out with Royal Bank the seminars to teach people what real e-commerce was. We called it the surefire strategies for making money online, and surefire strategies for fundraising online. So we could teach charities how to fundraise online. And basically, you're just taking all the techniques at the time. There was no real social media then. And just moving your regular marketing, doing all of that with a 24/7 branding online. In 1997.
That was trailblazing at the time.
Oh, trailblazing. Like, people were like, we would do these seminars, and I mean, the eyes are glazing over, going like, what planet are you from? And I'm going, well, watch what happens. I had people yell at me, this is never going to work. This one guy in particular. And now he's like, how did you know that? And I said, downloads from the creator universe, the universal energies. And so we just started building apps. And I mean, believe me, it was a roller coaster ride. I've got some wild stories that we're not going to get into for this, but because of my persistence and determination, these big, huge giants came after me. And, it was like the David and Goliath scenario. They really thought they had me, and they won the first battle. But I was like, and I won the war. Nice. And that's a whole other thing in itself. And so we started seeing, we always came from security and privacy first. Our security has always been top notch. And finally, and we've talked about this before, the money starts to roll. It's 97, 98, 99, 5. What did I say before? I think it was 5, it's 98. It was really, really, when I looked back on it, the money started rolling in about 98 because we're getting them up. But it was closer to 99 and 2000. And then 2004, when the tsunami hit in Indonesia, literally what happened is it was a Boxing Day, and my chief technical officer called me and goes, what is going on? The servers are going at near capacity. And there's a pause by me, and he goes, don't worry, we've got plenty of capacity. I'm just tweaking everything. So what I found out was that Red Cross had gone on and done a statement on it to, television, done a big, what do you call those?
Public service announcement?
It's not that. It's when they do when they do those PR things, and they press release, big press announcements in front of the television cameras to go online. Like, literally, because what happened? There was 200,000 people that we lost in that Indonesian tsunami.
For those who aren't aware of it, Boxing Day is the day after Christmas.
Yes.
It's celebrated in Canada. And that's
December
the day
26th.
The tsunami hit the Indonesian islands and killed how many people? Like 200,000 people?
200,000 plus. Yeah. There was about 55,000 children that were lost. It was huge and horrific, but people finally decided this is an easy way to get money. We started like millions. We probably put a couple $100 million through the systems at that time.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it was incredible. I mean, just that, and we knew then because people were so worried, and the consumers are always indemnified from fraud, right? The merchants get nailed in the Badowskis with that, but the consumers, there wasn't that realization, and we finally went, okay, it's real now. And then, I mean, we were building our own apps and everything else. So the bottom line is this: just because of things that happened when partners suddenly weren't partners, we couldn't get things done, or I couldn't get things done securely, because we never, ever turned our heads for money or convenience. It had to be done the right way. So we protected not only our consumers, but our merchants. And we own everything. So meaning we own all the servers, we manage all our servers, we own all the IP and everything else, because we found out the hard way that was the only way that we could maintain the security, and then we could control the price. So in other words, all of the gift in kind that we gave out, we've given out over the last 25 years, somewhere between 50 and $60 million, wouldn't be possible if I had partners, right? We were just able to, meaning me, I would just go, yeah, we're picking up that tab, or no, we're not, we're doing this or that. So it was all designed then to be able to help the charities do more with their projects. So they could put in more wells, and they could feed more children, and they could educate and help with violence against women. So yeah, it's been a wild, like you said, a wild West run, right? And I mean, I've accomplished all my goals. I've got a whole new set of goals that I've got a whole new run that I'll do start in the next, year or so. COVID has kind of pushed a lot of things behind the 8 ball. A few other things that have gotten in the way that have, caused issues, but those will be resolved. And it's really literally about believing in yourself. And on your darkest days, and I mean, they are dark, you got to love what you do. You got to come from this passionate place, so that no matter how rough it is, when you think suddenly that everything is over, and you get up in the morning and go, oh, no, it's not. I can do this. And then you watch it play out and you go, oh, look at that, right? It's all done. Phenomenal. And so, yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. What one routine or ritual or practice would you look back and say contributed most to your success? I'm hearing you say a lot about integrity. I'm hearing you say a lot about being aware and present to all the moving pieces. But what one thing would you say that's what carried me through all of it?
The love of being in service, the love of knowing that what we were creating, I have a phenomenal team, that what we were creating, implementing, and maintaining was making a difference on the planet. And I wasn't giving that up. Right? Even though other people were all coming on board and doing very similar things, it's the drive of the creation, because the money flows in behind it. But so it's love. For me, the big deal was love. And then you have to have a business plan. You have to be flexible. In the beginning, you need a little bit of funding. It makes life way easier because you want to cover your butt, because you're going to have ups and downs. Being focused, being driven. But bottom line for me is just love of people, love of animals, love of the planet, so that whatever I was doing, however little tiny bit that I was contributing to what other was doing, was driving it. And so never the money, because when you understand money just flows, when you're bringing those products and services that people want, and you come from that place of love and service and gratitude, it just falls in behind you. So
yeah, those are the top things that I keep hearing from all of these presenters is gratitude, integrity, service. I mean, you're not going to make it to get to $1 million without that. There's too many little steps that could take you out in between, right?
Yeah, and for me, it's the circle flow of money. So what comes out goes back in so many different ways. I call myself a conscious capitalist. It's making sure that all the stakeholders are profiting, and that we're talking about the planet, the ecosystems, the animals, all of your staff, and all of the other people that, when you're giving back, when you're tithing, so that everybody wins, everybody comes together. It takes everybody. And I mean, when you're taking it out, I mean, we have ecosystems that need to be maintained. The animals are part of it, right? I mean, we're all in the oneness together. So
Absolutely.
That's even though
Now,
I didn't understand it, that's just how I've always been. So,
see, I love that though. It's an intuitive part of you that makes all of this possible. Now,
hmm
what things did you start doing, or what things did you stop doing along the way? For example, I've noticed recently. I used
um,
to do my Facebook posts first thing in the morning, and I discovered that if I don't get up and start moving first before I sit down to do those things, my day
hmm
goes completely differently. So, what were those things for you?
they what for me was in the morning. What I like to do is I like to get up, I check my email, check our web board. We have a web board system. Just make sure everything was good, and then the importance of self care and self balance, like what you're talking about. So if I'm going to take a class, I would figure out whether I'm going to do yoga, whether I'm going to do Pilates, whether I'm going to the gym, or I'm just going to go for a walk. So I think the importance of bringing that balance, because when you're driven, and I'm a type A, probably plus person, and stress creates a lot of toxicity in your body, that inflammation aging, as they call it. You want to really make sure that you've got that balance, that you're getting enough rest, enough relaxation. And so, how you start your day, I would start my day with gratitude. Like, that's really important. So, when you get up, there's what I do called the breath of life. So, it's a 7 cycle, 7 inhales, 2 to 3 holds, 7 out. Set your, I guess, your vagus nerve into that peaceful place. Do
Mm-hmm.
my gratitudes no matter what was going on. I'm grateful for every experience, as horrific as some of them have been. And then you just start doing your work. What are you going to do for exercise, depending upon classes? And I just stopped. The thing that I stopped doing was stop beating myself up if things didn't go quite right or things turned
Mm.
sideways,
Mm-hmm.
because beating yourself up isn't productive. It's a waste of energy and emotion. And when you understand that all experiences come in as part of your soul lesson and soul journey, then you understand it is, and there's always a solution. I don't look at problems, I look at solutions. So,
Beautiful.
yeah, yeah.
Now, do you happen to have any particular wisdom that you would share with our seven figure seekers this morning?
You really, really want to believe in yourself. You want to trust yourself. You want to make sure that no matter what negative things people telling you that you can't do it, when you have a dream and a goal, then what you do is you put the action plan in place. Like, get your plan, find some funding, whether you're funding yourself, surround yourself with really positive people, right? It doesn't matter if it's just one. Keep those naysayers out of there, like, keep them out. And then don't give up. Like, don't give up. Just keep rolling. And it's going to happen. Like, if you take the action steps to go with your goals, and you know that your product and service is something that someone really wants, you're going to make it happen.
Fantastic. Brilliant
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Thank you so much for that. Any final thoughts before we say goodbye to everybody? Send them on their way into a powerful day.
Just come from a place of love and integrity and belief in yourself, and you can, and know that you've got it to make it. That's it. That's the bottom line. That's what I did. I didn't give up. It didn't matter what anyone said. I just keep going. So just keep on it and you'll make it happen.
Fantastic. Thank you so very, very much for what you do, for what you've done for the world, making things like that possible, and for spending some time with us this morning. I really appreciate your contribution.
Well, thank you. I'm grateful for the opportunity to share. So that's what it's all about. We're in this together.
Absolutely true. Thank you
Okay.
again. Have a great one. Bye, everybody. Have a
Thank you.
wonderful
Bye.
day.
Bye.